Friday, September 26th, around 2 p.m., we headed out to TGI Fridays because why not? It's Friday. But right away, we knew something was off. Traffic lights were out, cars were weaving, and the usual school pickup rush wasn't there. But why? Because it was the last Friday of the month and a teacher's work day, so a lot of schools were closed. So we get to Fridays and no luck. They tell us, sorry, we have no power, we can't serve any food. So we pivot, we take the back roads over to Texas Roadhouse at the Galleria's Mall. But as we're traveling there, it's the same story. Lights are out everywhere around the city. That's when it hits us. This outage is not just a local outage to a particular area. This was a mega blackout. And today I'm gonna tell you how we made it through. Let's get it. So after Texas Roadhouse fell through, plan C was to drive up the Progreso Merida Expressway to Wendy's. But as we got to the exit, we noticed a traffic jam from all of the folks trying to get to Las Americas. Again, the traffic lights were out. So we decided to keep moving and stopped at the gas station, which was just past the Wendy's. And there they have a brand new Starbucks and an MB Chicken, which is Mary Brown's Chicken. MB Chicken had power. So we decided to eat at MB Chicken, and this was our first time trying MB Chicken. And I gotta tell you, Mary Brown's Chicken from Canada was on point. The recipe for Mary Brown's clearly came from a black grandmother. But here's where things get weird. We noticed while we were at Mary Brown's Chicken that we didn't have cellular data. We only had cellular phone service. So I made a few calls to my loved ones just to let them know if they're texting or sending messages that we wouldn't be able to get any of that information until we got back to the house and hopefully had internet. So not only was the power out around the city, the traffic lights were out, but also the cellular data was out. And this is the first time we've ever lost cellular data communication during an unscheduled outage. That made it clear this blackout was more than just a simple inconvenience to one area. It was affecting the entire city. So at about 3:15 after eating lunch, we decided we should stop and get gas and fill up the tank since we were at a gas station and it looks like the gas station was still in service. So we did a fill up, which is always a good idea during a mass outage because you never know if the tanks are gonna run out, if the pumps at the stations aren't gonna be able to pump gas. You don't know what the situation will be. So having a full tank just makes sense in case you have to evacuate or whatever. So after getting gas, we could see the storms rolling in and the lights were still out. The power was still out all over the city. The traffic lights were out. And we knew getting back home was gonna take a long time because at a minimum, you would have traffic cops directing each major intersection. So headed back, we noticed at the first major intersection, which was just past the Harbor Mall at the Galleria's Mall, that the traffic lights came back. So the emergency signaling system for the power or for CFE was able to get back up and running fairly quickly around 3:15 or so. Driving back, it started to rain heavy. Now, heavy rain in Merida is like a snow or ice event anywhere else in the world. There are always accidents whenever there's heavy rain. And so even on a normal day when the traffic lights are working and there's heavy rain, there's just gonna be more accidents around the city during that time. We couldn't get home fast enough to avoid all of the potential accidents and safety issues on the road. 24 minutes later, after leaving the gas station, which is typically a 12-minute drive, we were home at last. And our power was still out. And honestly, I was a little bit excited because now I get to put my backup plan into action. This was the longest unexpected outage we've had in 6 years living here in Merida. So in the past, power usually only went out for a few hours and that was during tropical storms or hurricanes, but those were planned. And this was different. This one, there was no warning or no weather event to blame for the power outage. Step 2 for my backup plan past 30 minutes is to implement my Vitaman 1500 solar backup battery. And with that, I powered zone 1, which is my office, which controls the internet, my computer, and all of those things. And then zone 2, which controls my living room, the TV in the living room, a fan, and a light. So those were the first 2 things I plugged into my Vitaman 1500 solar backup. And that got us through. My daughter was chilling, watching YouTube. On the TV, we had a fan to keep the air cool because it was pouring raining outside. So just having air circulating really felt good. And then I was able to continue editing the video that I originally scheduled to post on Sunday, which is the walking tour of Colonial Mexico. So all of that happened. We were able to continue working and doing everything that we needed to during this outage just with my Vitoman 1500 solar backup battery. Now, step two, after 4 hours, I went ahead and plugged the refrigerator in. The doors had been closed ever since we left at 1 o'clock. So there was, still cold. Everything was cold and frozen within the freezer. So after about 4 hours, I felt it was prudent to go ahead and plug in the refrigerator. So we connected that to the system as well. After about 5.5 hours, when the power was still out, I went ahead and started prepping my gas inverter generator, which is a Generac 3000i gas inverter generator. So after about 5.5 hours, my Vitoman 1500 solar backup battery was about 51% capacity. With everything that we had running, and it had started to get dark at this time. And so we went ahead and started turning on some more lights. We plugged in a lamp and had the lamp going as well. I rolled out the generator, got it started, and boom, CFE restored the power. So we got to phase 3 of my backup plan when the power actually came on. Now, I didn't immediately just unplug everything from my backup power and plug it back into the wall outlets, because even though the power was back on, it's not uncommon for the power to go on and off multiple times when it first comes back. So I kept everything plugged into the power backup system for the next 40 minutes while the battery was topped off by the generator, and the generator was now powering everything in the house since it was already started and everything was already connected. Now here's the bigger picture. This outage highlights just how fragile the electrical grid here is in the Yucatan Peninsula. Capacity is already stretched with all of the growth, and I think blackouts are going to become more frequent as we move on. They predicted that this would be, the normal until 2027. This was the second large-scale outage we've already had in 2025. The last one hit back in March. And again, there was no major storm. According to the official story, CFE workers burning sugarcane disrupted 2 major transmission lines, cutting power to about 9 major distribution centers across the peninsula. It's hard for me to believe that that one incident would take down 2 transmission lines, leaving millions of people without power here in the Yucatan Peninsula, but it happened. The mega blackout for us lasted just over 5 hours, but it was the perfect real-world test for my backup system. If you want to see exactly how I built this backup plan, every piece of equipment, how it connects, and how to set up your own backup system, check out this video right here. Until next time, MexitPlans Monty, I'm out.